Hello and welcome to USTS, the Ultimate Sports Training Show. I'll be your host for today's show, Bob Lemire. Joining me on today's show is a head coach for the freshman team at St. John's Prep. Their team, St. John Prep, has coming right off a winning season, and we're going to get into some of the training methods and how things are in today's world compared to back in the day. Mr. John Zimini.
Hi, Bob.
How are you doing, John?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming.
It's an honor to be here, buddy.
John is, as I said, John's been coaching for 50 years. And he looks like he's only about 45 years old, so I don't get that. And we're going to talk about that coaching and how things have changed over the years. But before we do that, I'd like to have John just go through some of the stuff he's been doing around, because he's well known in Massachusetts, all of New England. You say John Zimini, and it raises eyebrows. It's great. John, what have you been up to?
Wow, you make me much bigger than I
And
it's always good for the ego. You know
sure
that.
Is.
You know that. Well, Bob, I grew up in Chelsea, Massachusetts. It's the smallest community in size, a city in Massachusetts. Right. It's the smallest city in Massachusetts, 1.8 square miles. And when I was a kid, there was only 50,000 people in that city, all immigrant city. Yeah. And today there's 80,000.
In that same small
1.8 square miles. And that's just 1 mile outside of Boston.
Yeah.
It's amazing, but back in the day, we didn't have hockey. We had played in the streets.
No.
We didn't have,
Street hockey, then no. Street hockey wasn't even kind of, you used your old sticks.
Well, yeah, there was professional hockey.
Right.
And there was some college hockey. And
I'm talking about the play for us, for your kids. Yeah.
So it was, we did a lot of things, but today's world is so different. So I grew up in Chelsea, and I was very active in different things there, sports, particularly during high school. I wasn't, because I had a car accident when I was 14 years old, and it took me out of my back. I have fusion in the back, so I didn't play much hockey after that. But I did before that. We played mostly, CYO type get together at the old Boston Arena down in Lynn, and it was always, before we started, you were talking about how you were at Bill Ricker Forum. 3 o'clock in the morning. The same thing with us in Lynn. We would get there, and I would go with my brother-in-law and friends of his and what have you. And we'd hack around and have a great time.
Have a ball. Yeah.
So through high school, the Boston Bruins became the big thing. Right?
Big Bad Bruins.
The Big Bad Bruins. So when they became the big thing, of course, then hockey exploded in Massachusetts. But even before that, I was involved in politics from my father. After I graduated high school, I went on to Career Academy School of Radio and TV Broadcasting, and I got my license and all that stuff, and that's what makes us, draws us to this kind of stuff. But
it's fun.
I also was a member of the Board of Aldermen in Chelsea. I worked in the mayor's office. I worked for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts for almost 40 years. Wow. A couple of different departments.
Right.
Moved to Drake as a young wedded.
What made you move to Drake, John? I have to.
Yeah, well, you know what? We wanted to.
Suburbs.
We wanted to be in the suburbs. We had enough of the city. I married a city girl, a Chelsea girl, who, by the way, is in a lot of athletics herself. She was an all-scholastic baseball, basketball player. Wow. She was the first female to play Chelsea Little League.
Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine.
So imagine.
You know what? I'm going to invite her on the show.
There you go.
Right now. So
there you go. I'll have to tell her.
That is wild. So she's like the Jackie Robinson of Little League.
in Chelsea, So anyways, I married her late in life. I was 38. She was 22 when I married her, and we've been married 32 years. But when we got married, we lived in Chelsea still. We had a baby girl, and then we had a second girl, and we had decided that we wanted a better life for them than the city life. So we searched around, and of course, Drake, it was so affordable and still is. Had a great school system at the time, and not that it isn't bad now, that it isn't good now. It is, but we wanted to move to the burbs. So we struggled, bought a house in Drake.
And what a great move. To me,
Yeah.
I've been in Drake. I grew up in Lowell until I was about 20, and then I got married and bought a house right off the bat up by the lake, Massacupic. It was the greatest move I ever made. I'm telling you right now, I loved it. And I moved from there, but I'm still in Drake by Cutter Farm.
Right.
And
I didn't really know much about Drake as a kid, but now that I'm here, I've found so many of my friends from Chelsea used to summer in Drake on Lake Muscatine.
imagine
Back in the day when there was was the amusement park up there,
yeah.
and I didn't even know that.
Oh yeah,
back then.
oh yeah.
But, yeah.
Did you ever see the music park?
I didn't.
Oh my God, to go there, it was unbelievable, and it really wasn't that much. It was like Canopy Lake, but
Tiny.
it's very tiny. Yeah, but you're a little kid.
Yeah.
You're going on a roller coaster, Bobby horses, and
I lived, Chelsea's right next to Revere.
Right.
And Revere Beach is the first public beach in the United States of America.
yeah.
So they had an amusement. They had all kinds of
Right
amusement. So
on
as
the-
kids, that's where we went
So
to
you knew.
Revere.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
had fun there too. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah,
and then you come in to Drake it, and you jumped into a little politics for a while.
Yes, I did.
It's funny. I remember because I've always watched the Selectman Show,
Right.
On and it goes way back, even before the cable, and it was always a Donnybrook. It was always a soap opera,
Yeah.
and I'd enjoy it so much. My wife goes, "I can't believe you like that." I go, "Di, these guys are at each other's throat." I says, I don't have that type of gumption, but and this is before you.
Before me, yeah.
But it never got any better.
Reality. It's a reality
It's
show.
rea-
That's
it
what
is
makes,
a reality show.
That's what makes these shows.
And I go, and people say to me, "Bob, how come you never get in politics?" I go, "I don't have the gumption," and they would eat me up. I know I'd get eaten up, and I says, "No, I'd rather not."
There is a certain personality you need to have, and a certain bit of thick skin.
Well, and the funny thing is, because as I watched you over the years, and with your TV, your DATV show, What's Happening, Drake It.
Yep. Thanks for the plug.
Yeah, great show.
Thank you.
And you've always been involved in stuff. And as I watched, even with the Selectmen, I used to watch
Right.
it, stuff, and I go, these guys got a set on them. The way they just they go at it. If you have an idea in your head, you go at it. And if people don't like it, you'll go at them. But then when I found out you're hockey coach for 50 years, well, there you go. That's nothing like a selector. Oh, yeah, I've already gone through that 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Boy, that's wild.
So when you say you don't have the gumption, you have the gumption to be a leader in any sport.
No, but you know what? You know what? When it comes to politics, and I don't really. You probably even noticed it because we're all Facebook friends and all
Right.
this, and I don't get into it because I don't do the homework.
Yeah.
And if I'm not going to do the homework and not knowledge, I'm not going to give my opinion when I don't know what I'm talking about. Because everyone who's really going at it, whether you're a Republican or Democrat or Independent, a lot of them are doing their homework.
Yeah.
And so you're going to look like a fool if you're saying, well, blah, 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 because you heard on Facebook. Or you heard. So I don't even bother. I say,
You know me. I've been in the,
But
in
you
the
do your
political,
homework.
and I do my homework.
you do. You have to do your homework.
yeah.
And you can tell the people who do their homework. And like I said, when I watch a meeting or I watch something, I can tell someone who's talking off the cuff. And you can too.
Yeah.
And you're saying, I have not a clue. And you're going to eat them up. If they want to argue with you, you're going to eat them up. And I don't want to get eaten up.
No,
so
no.
I watch what I say about politics.
Right.
But, all right, so you've been so busy, and we talked a little earlier. You had a little bout with the cancer.
Cancer. I had prostate cancer.
Yeah,
I didn't even know I had it.
And that is, oh my God, that's the scariest thing for a man.
You know, you go through life and you live your life and you get to retirement age, and now you say, all right, now I can really live because you got a little bit of an income coming in and you can vacation. And then 2 years into the retirement, you discover you have cancer. And it's a kick in the pants.
So how was the treatment? And I mean, everything seemed to work well.
Yeah.
You're in full recovery.
Yeah, 6 years out.
Oh, that's good.
I've had the surgery. I had 38 rounds of radiation.
And you still kept going. I remember.
Yeah, I didn't stop.
You didn't stop a bit. You must have been exhausted.
Yeah, I took a leave. I got out of the political scene, and I wanted to concentrate on family and my health
Until get better,
you know, till we got straightened out, and we did. But it didn't stop you from being involved because you've got to keep. You can't just focus on that illness and let it eat you up.
No,
It's
you're
like
positive.
Like
positive.
when I told the kids, and we came home from the urologist, and they told me that I had a high grade of prostate cancer and that it needed to come out. It wasn't going to be treatable any other way.
So they had to take it out.
So yeah, and it's a pretty radical surgery, and it's I did it robotically in Boston. But
what hospital, if you don't mind?
St. Elizabeth's.
Okay.
There's a story behind that story, too.
I can only imagine,
But the doctor that did the surgery on me ended up going to jail for killing his girlfriend. Or
there you go. Yeah.
But
he saved your life.
But he saved my life, and I still love the guy, right? But So
you go visit him?
No, I don't. I don't. But when we went home, I started to tell you because of the power of positivity, and you know how that is being a coach yourself. I went home, and we told the girls. And of course, it's devastation, and you're all crying, and you're all, you think it's the end of your life. And I said, that's it. We have today.
Let's go.
After today, there's no more crying, no more tears. I'm going to beat this sucker, and we're all going to be in it together. And from that day forward, we push forward.
You go. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank God.
Angels watching over you, and it is positivity. Now, and it's like just talking with you, and people can hear your voice, and people who know that you have an energy, and when you have that energy to be the coach, and you started when how old were you when you started?
I was 18.
18.
I was 17. Out of high school.
Yeah.
Just out of high school.
And so you're a rookie. You're green in the world. You're only a kid, and the experience you've had over the last 50 years. I mean, do you ever think of writing a book, or you ever think of?
No, I never really thought about that.
Think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, how many people have coached? I mean, like I say, I've trained people for 50 years myself, and I'm always writing. I'm always writing memoirs, stories. How many stories you think you could tell? Oh. I mean, crazy stuff that people go, wow, you'd be in jail for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, but it was legal then.
Because coaching wasn't the way it is today. You couldn't say the things today that we said back in the day. You couldn't do the things to the kids we did in terms of taking a hockey stick and whacking them in the butt to get them going. We can't do that stuff. We'll be in jail.
You can't even see it. You can't even look at them.
Yeah.
But even, and that brings me in, like today's kids, that they're living today's world, and they're still good. These kids, when they get a coach like yourself, or they get a bunch of coaches who know what they're doing, they're gonna work hard for you.
Yeah.
And they'll win championships, and they'll never forget you.
Never.
I mean, how many people that you started when you were a kid coaching, you see their grandchildren now playing.
Yeah, I started with the mites. A good friend of mine got me involved and says, "Hey, Zim, come on down and coach with me at youth hockey." Yeah. So I started with the little mite kids. They were like, 5, 6 years old, up at 6 o'clock in the morning at the rink down in Revere.
And that's 1971.
1971.
Okay. Were there helmets at that point?
Yeah, there were, but it wasn't, no cages. It was like leather. But they really, when the Bruins became into, in that era, they started to really get better. Yeah, they were. They got better with the cages and all that stuff. Yeah, they had to. Yeah.
Well, even high school at one point had no helmets. No. It's in the pads were like garbage.
Yep.
Now you get seriously hurt.
Yeah.
When the sticks got better, people got better, the technique got better, and you take a slap shot. Imagine the goalie with no helmet.
75 to 100 miles an hour. That slap shot's coming at you.
And who was it? Was Eddie Johnson the last maybe goalie for the Bruins who didn't wear a face mask?
Yeah, probably.
And when they had the face mask, it was the white face mask.
Jerry Chivas used to put the scar marks.
The scar marks, right? Which would have been his face.
And Jacques Plante was the guy who came up with the face mask. If you remember back in the day, he was the guy that came up. Jacques Plante was, I think, with Toronto Maple Leafs at the time. There were only 6 teams back in those days.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And then they expanded and what have you. But yeah, Jacques Plante was the guy that came up with that.
Because I mean, I remember Teddy Green, who was going to be the Bobby O of the world.
I have a story with that one.
And see how easy it is with us. Yeah. He got hit with a stick. He got hit with a stick in the head.
Stan Mikita, I believe.
Was it Stan Mikita?
Yeah, I believe it was. Hit him over the head with the stick. Didn't have a helmet on.
Destroyed. Nobody held a helmet.
No.
He was one of the first ones to wear a helmet, and he looked so out of place. I remember that. I remember going to my father, Dad, why does that guy wear a helmet? Like what's wrong with him? He has to, Bobby. That guy's got a plate in his head.
Yeah.
And he's
imagine,
lucky.
Imagine he came back.
Tough. Well, that's the toughness.
Yeah.
And I don't remember him before that because I was at that age. I was kind of young, and I didn't know how good he was. I never saw him really play in his heyday. but I heard
did. I dated a girl whose father was a gallery god. And, the gallery gods were special people that sat in a second balcony of the old Boston Garden, right on the red line, right center ice. And we'd go to some games. But her sister, the girl I was dating, her sister babysat Teddy Green's kids. So we would go down the locker room after the games and wait for Teddy to come out. And so,
that's crazy.
So it's crazy stuff. When I think of back in the day, what I'm
saying. I mean, just even today, we're going to talk some stories and stuff, and you're going to just tell stories. You start writing memoirs.
Yeah.
It's so easy and so much fun. And it's funny. Somebody said, if you wrote 20 minutes a day, maybe 2 pages, you'd have a novel in 1 year.
Wow.
Well, if you wrote 1 page a day, you'd have 365 pages at the end of the year.
Yeah.
You got a novel. Right. And that could be memoirs. And that's it. I whenever I talk to people and who have been and done stuff like yourself, I like, do it. Just have some fun and do it. And you'll start getting the juices flowing, and you'll remember a lot of the crazy stuff.
One of my oldest daughter actually gave me a birthday present that was similar to that on the internet, that you had to write different answers to different questions about your lifetime, because she wanted me to relate her life as for her to remember, but also the grandchildren. So I just got through writing that. So now that you talk about doing a book, I forgot all about that. I said to her, "Don't ever give me another birthday present like that." No. But it was fun.
And the novels that they sell, that they're blanked and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
You get a nice pen and you just say, "All right, you never do it every day. No. You do a couple of stories a week, or and all of a sudden, a year, 2 years, it's like." And then your kids will have, and your grandkids
will have something.
They'll have something, and they'll read, and you'll have them laughing.
Yeah,
because as we say, the days back then is nothing like today.
Nothing.
And it's actually scary right now. We're in a scary. We thought we were scared then.
Yeah.
All right, because of Russia going over by Cuba, and with Kennedy, and like, oh no, boy.
Today, China.
That's today as we speak. It's like, and yesterday it was Russia.
Do people realize what's going on with China today? It's like, but that's discussion for another day, right?
Yeah. But all right, so now what we'll do is we'll talk about the freshman team that you how many years you've been doing the freshman team, head coach?
Oh boy, I think I'm in my. I think close to 20 years as a freshman coach.
It's the same
at
school.
St. John's Prep.
Okay.
Yeah, I started coaching as a young guy with Chelsea youth hockey. Worked my way up, and then I was bantam coach, and I was a commissioner at the youth hockey. I got a president and the whole 9 yards of the league.
Well, you had a full-time job.
Yeah, you're right. Well, all while we had a full-time job, but then a job opened up. Excuse me, I got to take a drink. Job opened up at the high school for the head coach.
Nice.
So I applied.
Yeah.
I get the job. I have the job for 2 years, and I'm coaching kids that I had youth hockey.
Isn't that wild?
Right? It's wild. Wow. So it was great stories there. We did some great things with them. Didn't win a lot because we were in the old Boston Greater Boston League back in the day, Arlington, Peabody, all those teams.
10,000 kids.
Powerhouses against a little old Chelsea, right?
Yeah.
So I did 2 years there, and then a position opened up at Don Bosco High School, which was a technical high school in Boston, right in the combat zone. We could relate to the combat zone and what it was like back in the day, but that was right in the heart of near Chinatown.
Right.
Anyways, I applied for the job, had a couple of friends that I had known in hockey, and I got the job. Lasted there 2 years, and I got an opportunity. It was in the old, it's still the Catholic Conference team, and they were all Catholic. It's a Catholic boys technical high school. And
St. John's Prep.
No, Don Bosco.
Don Bosco, okay.
So then I was there for 2 years, and the head coach, who I became friend with at St. John's, said, "Come on over and coach with us." And I was at Don Bosco, which was a good school, but it was in its down era at the time, and they eventually went out of business. But the bottom line is that I moved over to St. John's and found a home, and 38 years later, I'm still at St. John's Prep, and it'll be my 39th season.
Isn't that
come the end of November?
Yeah.
at St. John's Prep. So I came over as an assistant coach,
Yeah.
and the year I came over was 1984-85. We won the state championship.
Wow.
So
Jesus,
I got a ring for
Isn't
that.
that cool?
And then there was many, many years.
Yeah.
I was an assistant coach. I went to JV. I went
Yeah.
back to. I was also assistant.
How does that
on
work?
varsity.
I mean, why do they do that? It just need, like they need you here, or they need you there, or other people come in. How do they?
Yeah,
work
well,
that?
there's different levels. So at St. John's, we have a freshman, JV,
Right.
and a varsity team
Right.
because you have so many boys trying
right.
out for the teams. You keep as many as you can.
That's
right.
right, yeah.
So when I first started, I was like the third or fourth assistant coach on the varsity. I was the green guy, I was
That's
new
right, yeah.
coming in, so he had people with him. So I worked my way up, and eventually he said to me, the head coach said, "Listen, I need a JV coach. You're the guy I want to put there. You're going to be the head coach. You're going to go down there, practice with us, go back and forth, do the whole thing." So we did that. I did the JV probably for about 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
Maybe 9. Then I went back to the head coach left, and the assistant coach elevated to the varsity.
That's how.
And he wanted me as his assistant. So I stayed with him for another 10 years. And then eventually I said, "Look, life is happening. I got 2 daughters. I gotta be more involved with them. I need some time. I got a business
job.
running. I had 2 jobs,
Yeah.
plus coaching hockey.
Yeah.
So the bottom line was I went and coached freshmen, and then I been coaching there since. And obviously I help out with the other teams.
Right,
I go up
yeah.
and help the varsity
Right,
whenever I can, and
Yeah.
I have a rapport with the kids because every kid that comes in the program
That's what
usually comes out through the freshmen.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And I've got that rapport with the kids where what you said earlier, it's just they know when you're giving them BS, and they know when you know your stuff. And I always was confident of what I knew, and I was demanding.
Right.
I still am to this day, albeit not as much as a taskmaster as I was back in the day, but my reputation still precedes me in hockey.
Right.
So I've been there now 38 years, and now the head coach at the varsity level is a kid I coached back in the 90s.
Can you imagine? That's what I'm saying. And he's got, that's what I'm saying. We see grandchildren who come up, and it's like,
I'm coaching grandchildren of kids I coached.
kids you coached, yeah.
Come on.
And you say, I can't be that old.
No.
Then you're waiting for the great grandchildren. You say, all right, come bring them on.
I
you know?
have players from 4 or 5 years ago, or 6 or 10 years ago, saying, "Coach, you got to stay there. I got a son." I said, "Your son's 10 years away. I'm going to be 70. Are you kidding me?" Yeah, you can do
a
it,
young
Coach.
70. A young 70. So now, like, we know that the whole way of coaching, and it's even Taekwondo, the whole way of teaching, totally different from back in the day. Because even, and I was thinking about it, even medical science on athletics and sports medicine. Back in the day, if you're thirsty, you ain't getting a drink. No. You got to learn how to
What are you, a wimp? Drinking?
Yeah,
you can't say that today.
No, you got to have a drink because you're going to be
sued.
Give them a drink, and now you want them to drink.
Yes,
You've
you
got
do.
to keep hydrated. Back in the day, no boxing, Taekwondo. My instructor would say, "No drink today." It'd be 95 degrees, 2-hour workouts. You drink after, toughen up, boy. And then he learned. He did his.
He had to learn too.
He did his homework and say, "No, everyone starts drinking more," which thank God.
How about nutrition? Right?
Jesus, yeah.
Back in the day, you ate whatever your mother threw in front of you, right? Or your grandmother threw in front of you. You ate it. It didn't matter what the calorie count was or the fat content or any of that stuff. Protein, right? Pasta 6 times a week when you couldn't afford to have the beef.
Yeah.
Bottom line is today, we have a whole wellness center that's staffed with people who know about nutrition, teaching these kids about nutrition
It's a whole
and about
different-
weightlifting and what body group, what muscle groups you're going to use and explosive power. It's all stuff guys like you and I, we didn't know that.
We didn't know. We did it the old
hard way.
old school way.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
The Rocky Balboa with the axe and the
Exactly.
tire iron and
Exactly.
But I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I wouldn't either.
Because the greatest thing is to see the transition of all sports, not just hockey or taekwondo or baseball, how they've just.
You know how you talk about the old school days. Remember the tires? They used to put the tires and run through the tires. Well, that went through evolution too.
Right.
Where we used to do it, and then we didn't do it, and now we're back to the tires.
the tires,
And we're back to cutting up the old rubber what do you call it? The inserts inside the tires,
Yeah,
right? And using it around the kid's body to pull the sled around. It's like amazing.
Yeah, a lot of it's because and it's studies. The studies, and if you're a good coach, will understand, and that's how you win.
Yeah,
because you're going to have that edge over the team that doesn't.
That's right.
And the thing is, as I watch, and even myself, I watch somewhat like a brand new coach. You were a young kid, brand new coach yourself. You know what it's like to be green, but you look and you go, wow, got a lot to learn. And as you're watching, and if they're lucky enough to be with you, and they learn from you, you know what I'm saying? A younger coach.
I've got kids that I've coached,
right,
that now want to coach with me. Right. So there's only so many coaches you can have on a team. So I bring the kids in, and they want to be with me. They want to coach, and they want to learn. They keep saying, well, what's the magic, coach? I just say, look, be yourself. Don't be their friends, and be tough. Yeah. Don't treat everybody the same. Right. There's no matter what talent level you are, if you treat the best player with the toughness that you're going to teach the kid you're trying to get the most out of on the bottom of your roster, those kids will all respect you. Right. Discipline is a big thing, and I'm still a disciplinarian. But today it is so. Everybody needs a hug.
Do you now? Do you have to take classes at all? Are there special classes that you do take?
There are now, but because I've been around so long, I'm exempt from some of those classes. Your grandfather then. So I didn't have to take special coaching classes.
Okay.
But I'm like a sponge. I'm like you, Bob. I want to suck it all in because I want to know what these younger generation is listening to, right? I want to know the vernacular they use today and not what I'm using 50 years ago, although I still say the silly things
believe me,
that we used to say back in the day. But you say it in a different way. But yeah, I still take those courses. We didn't have CPR. We didn't have AED training on the shock, with the hearts and stuff like that. And all of that stuff we have to take now. You got to be certified to be on the bench. Yeah. So I'm exempt from the coaching aspect of it because they assume I already know what I'm doing.
Right. And you probably do.
Yeah.
You'd probably do the CPR.
But there are other things. How about diversity? You got to talk about diversity and, acceptance. How to accept everybody's backgrounds and different things. Right. So you need to do it. If you recall, not too long ago, there was a big thing in Andover where the kids were hazing one another.
Oh, yeah.
It was a sexual thing. Yeah. So now you got to take that training. You got to go in and you got to be able to recognize pedophilia. You
got to watch.
You got to watch.
Yeah. And it's, it's scary.
It is.
It's scary.
It is scary.
And
it is scary.
Do they still? Is hazing, which is probably maybe a mild level now? Do they still do any hazing at all? At a light level, I wouldn't even know what a light level is, but
not at St. John's. You can't.
No.
We talk about hazing, and we
do not
have
haze.
To watch it. You cannot haze
anything.
Okay. Nothing. You can't be. You can't use certain words when you want to describe somebody.
You have classes with the kids that they have.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's good.
Absolutely.
And that's good.
We have training on it, and you got to accept if a person is gay,
anything,
whatever. Back in the day.
Yeah. Oh no!
A kid couldn't admit that they had
no
sexual preferences.
Fear of
no. Yeah. So today you've got to be able to, and that's a good thing.
Oh, it's a great thing. It really is. The acceptance. We have to accept each other, and sports is the great way to do it.
To do it, awesome.
And
some of the coaches though, they sit in the room and they're like looking at each other. Are we really doing this? Yeah. Because it's a different world today.
What's now, and I know rules have probably changed, especially for high school. If say someone fights or hurts somebody bad fighting, what are the rules now for fighting?
No fighting in hockey
at all.
You can't fight.
If you fight,
it's a 3-game suspension.
Okay, and you
if it's deemed a fight. Right. Now there's pushing and shoving, and there's also
and there's probably still fighting.
Oh yeah,
people they can't take it anymore.
Right. So, but it's not the swinging brawls that we used to have back in the day.
That was a weekly thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So today, the first offense is a 3-game suspension. The next offense is a year. The next time you do it, you're out a year. And it carries over to college. So if you want to advance your career, you're not, and you're in your last game, you can't do that crap.
No.
And so I always tell the kids, look, we want you to be tough. We want you to stand up. We want you to protect your goalie and yourself. But if you are the initiator of a fight and you get in an out-of-control situation, you're going to own it and you're going to pay for it.
Is it the initiator or is it both?
It's usually both. There's some sort of punishment for both because you're participating in it.
Because you must go crazy when you see one guy really blowing up on one of your guys, and your guy's trying to stay away, and they're just picking on him, and, and the refs aren't doing anything. You want to go crazy.
We get that.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine.
Because, again, it's different levels of personalities, right?
Right. Wow.
And different levels
then
of
you get
what you think is a hit, what you don't think is a hit.
And then you get the parents in the stands. They got to get kicked.
I got to say, there's an awful lot of politics. I don't have that problem because my reputation precedes me. I don't talk to parents about hockey. They want to talk to me about their education. You want to talk to me about their health, but don't talk to me about where they're playing, when they're playing, how much they're playing, what line they're on. You don't do that. That's what we get paid to do.
When they do, what do you just say we don't like?
We have a talk.
Yeah.
We have a talk.
Because those days, remember back in the day? How come my son's not playing?
Right.
Now, do you have tryouts?
Yes.
And if you just don't make it, you just don't make it.
Unfortunately,
it's tough.
We have at St. John's with the 3 teams. We try to, like I said, there are requirements for the first team, the varsity team. You can only have 22, 23 or 24 on the roster, but you can rotate kids during the season, and then it changes during the playoffs. But then we keep 23, 24 kids on the JV team and 23, 24.
And you have that many. There's that many you keep playing.
I have 45 kids trying out for freshmen most years. 45.
Really? So you got to cut half of them off.
Right. In a school where the freshman class is probably 310, 320. It's a small group. And we'll have 120 kids try out for varsity, including all 3 teams.
Now, St. John's Prep, does the school go looking for kids? Or is it
Great question. In the league we're in, and under the association we're in with the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association, you can't recruit.
You can't.
No, we're not in one of those ISL teams where there are other private schools like Belmont Hill and Avon Old Farms. Those people can go out and recruit people and offer them financial aid. We can't. We can only offer financial aid for need, and that's basically it.
Wow.
And usually, sometimes they'll give some aid to kids that are really high performers in terms of education and scholarships for that reason.
Yeah.
But most of the scholarships given out at our level is for need. And, St. John's Prep is a wealthy school.
Oh, yeah.
And most kids that go to it's expensive to go to St. John's Prep.
I can only imagine.
It's $30,000 a year for high school. For high school.
I was going to go to Keith, and I think when I was going to go to Keith, and they closed.
Yeah.
And I was up. My mother, how she was prepping me. You're going to Keith, and whether you like it or not. And they closed. I was so happy. All my friends going to Low High. I went to Low High, but I
know kids that took the test for Keith and failed it because they didn't want to go to Keith. They wanted to be with their friends at Low High. They tell me the story.
With the brothers, because I went to St. Mike's.
Yeah.
So I had the nuns beat me up for 8 years. I didn't want the brothers.
No.
Although I was already hardened with the sisters.
Yeah,
they were more martial artists than anyone I ever met in my life. And so when a kid comes to your or your team, all right. This is what I ask a lot of times, because I don't know what the schools used to buy all the equipment.
Yeah.
The kids have to buy their own equipment.
Yeah. The only thing provided by the school is jerseys. Used to be that the school provided the helmet, the pants, the
big
gloves,
big money,
the sticks, and as time evolved, if you bought a helmet for a kid and that helmet failed, who are they going to sue?
Oh, Jesus, really?
Right? So the school got out of that business.
They still got to wear a helmet
certified. It's got to be certified.
Certified, okay.
Yeah, certified.
And
helmets.
So all they get is a jersey. They got to buy their own skates and stuff. So we're talking.
They get jerseys and socks.
So it could be $5,000 to $10,000. Some people are spending for equipment.
Yeah. A stick today. I used to buy a $3 stick, wooden.
Low and half.
Yeah, right. $3 stick. Now they could be up to $500, $600, $700 for a stick,
and they'll break. they'll break as easy.
They're
as
only guaranteed for a short period of time.
Okay. And now,
the
they
graphite sticks.
Oh,
sticks,
geez, I can only imagine. Yeah. And now, is there any certain curve that they can have, or is it?
Yes, there is. There are regulations. There's
Regulations.
rules and
Well,
regulations.
you still have some curve. I don't know what they. Yeah.
Usually, we say a dime. If a dime can slide under it, if a dime can't make it through, then it's a legal stick. If the dime makes it through the curve, it's illegal. That's how they used to measure them, with a dime. So it's a short curve. You know, Bobby Orr.
Yeah.
He never had a curve. He had a straight
stick. Yeah. Hull. And they had slap shots that would take your head off. Imagine if they had the curve. Or today's sticks.
Yeah.
It'd take your head right off.
Right off.
Wow.
Right off, yeah. Yeah, those are the days. When I coached at Chelsea High School, I got the job. The athletic director said to me, well, now, Mr. Zimini, you got to sit down and you got to start thinking about your budget for, helmets and stuff like that. Because in the 70s, they still provided us sticks, right? He says, I said, well, how many sticks do you order? He says, well, we typically order about 26 dozen sticks. 26 dozen sticks. We didn't have 26 kids trying out for the team.
But they'd break them probably as quickly as
and we'd hand them out like ice cream,
Yeah.
But
but there's always that sweet stick. Did you ever?
They find them.
Oh yeah,
really? They're banging them. They're curving them with the Bunsen burner or whatever it was. They would burn them to curve them more.
Would you tell them, you can't do that?
Today.
Boy, that's funny. And today, they're already made that way. And
they got different lies. They got different curves. And some of the kids still do the little bit of the burning. They do the stuff.
Is it all still wood, or is there a plastic coating? Or what do they do?
The stick itself is the metal or the composite stick.
Right.
And it inserts a blade in the bottom.
Right.
So
and the
blade
wood.
comes wood usually. Yeah.
Oh, so you can keep this stick and
just change the blade.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. Some of the
remember how
that's changing.
Remember how we used to tape our sticks?
Yep.
You'd have that much any kind of black tape you could find, or even white tape.
They're still doing that now. They wax the sticks.
Yeah.
They put the tape on it and they put wax.
Right.
And the wax holds the puck better on supposedly. Wow. But when wax gets wet, doesn't it get slippery?
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of it say,
it's a mental thing.
And a lot, I bet you must see different. You see a lot of different personalities with all your students.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you must see some kids that they got to do something before every game.
Yes. They have routines.
Absolutely. The routine. I'm trying to think of the word. Is
the superstitious.
Superstitious. I couldn't think of the word.
I have it.
Oh, I do too.
I wear the same clothes.
Oh yeah.
There's certain things that I wear. When I win, I continue to wear those things until we lose.
Yeah. So why are you wearing that shirt? Because I've won championships.
That's right. I win games with this shirt. You kidding me? I had a kid that was superstitious. He was saying, "Coach, what do I got to do? I can't score. I can't do this." So I go into my little bag of tricks. I take out a little bottle of powder, and I said, "Sprinkle it on there." You're going to be all set. Yeah. Now he goes out and he scores a goal. He says, "Coach,
you need that powder.
You're a genius."
That's great. Because most people I've played sports since I was 5.
Yeah.
Either you see other people with their Nomar Garcia power, or you see them and you say, well, something's going on there. They're that good. Then I've got to do something. And so you make up the superstitious, no matter what it might be, a superstition.
It's a psychological thing.
It's all it is. But if that's going to get you through,
that's right.
You've done your superstition, or you've done your ritual.
Right.
Like if I'm playing golf and even horseshoes, we'd have tournaments up in the mountains at my camp and stuff. And I'm in a championship game. My superstition is I'm not going to watch them throw. I'm not going to watch them throw at all, and I'm not going to watch them swing the golf club at all, because I do not want to see how good they've done. I'm just going to play my game. And boy, did I get... What are you looking at, Bob? I'm not watching him. And
I don't care what he does. I'm worried about me.
Yeah.
That's what I tell my kids. I says, I don't want to see one of you. You sometimes see kids on the blue line watching the other team shooting and warming up the goal.
No.
I said, no, you're showing weakness.
Yeah.
You're showing them you're afraid of them.
Yeah.
The coaches will watch. You pay attention to your routine getting ready.
Get your routine. And that's what you do. You give them a routine.
That's right.
And what do they train every day? These kids train every day with you?
Yeah, for instance, freshmen. Varsity's on the ice every day.
Is this year round or is this
no? It's the high school hockey season starts
just for the season and
first Monday after Thanksgiving.
And they practice before, get ready, and
that's on. They're 8 months of the season. They're getting their own stuff ready. They're doing their own training.
Right.
They're told what we want them to do and things of that nature. And they go out and they play in different leagues.
Right.
But when the high school season starts, it starts the first Monday after Thanksgiving. We have our tryouts for the first week, and then we go until there's a tournament. The tournament ends for the varsity in March. So right after school, February vacation. Yeah, so it's 12, 14 weeks, and that's intense.
And how many games would that be?
They play 22 games in a regular season, and then they play the playoffs, whatever the playoffs.
So maybe one game a week.
2 games a week.
2 games a week.
Yep. 2 games a week,
and injured or not. Now, how do you work that? You must say, I don't think you're going to play this week, Coach. I can play.
Well, it's not like it was back in the day.
You
Get
play,
your butt out there. You're playing. We push the kid to play.
You have a doctor, right?
Today we have
AMT
trainer.
Trainer. Okay.
Trainer is usually at every game.
Is that law? You have to.
It is a rule of the MIAA, and most schools have trainers. And now we're seeing trainers come to a lot of practices too.
Okay.
Right. There's so much with head injuries and things of that nature today. As you know, the concussion stuff. When you get hit in the head, you got your bell rung, right? All right, just get back out there. You'll be better off. Today, I have to give the kid a verbal test. Yeah. I have to ask. I'm trained in what to recognize. And I'm telling you right now, if it's on me, you aren't playing if there's the slightest chance that you have a concussion.
Right.
And I send them to the trainer and let the trainer make that decision.
Right.
And, there's so many kids, and there's so many good kids.
You've seen it.
But, you still don't, the best player you still want. Yeah. You still want them out there, right?
Of course. Yeah.
But, the parents sometimes crazy. Oh, he just got hit in the head. Don't worry, put him back out there. But that's the parent. But the school will say, nope.
Right.
That's it. And then there's a protocol they got to go through.
That's right.
There's a baseline before we even start the season. They take a baseline test on where they are on their head and what they recognize in different areas. They have a whole psychological thing for that. And
for each
kid.
Wow, that's so different. So different.
Really is. Wow. Now with COVID, we had a whole new protocol.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
Whole new protocol with COVID.
And you probably still do.
Yeah, we
with
do.
it.
We still do.
Did they have to be tested? Like, would they have to be tested this year?
I don't know about next year, but for the last 3 years, we were tested. Once there was a test for it, we were tested every Monday. Every Monday. Everybody,
even you.
Me too.
But that's kind of good in a way, I would imagine. For the kids anyway. I mean, if they got it,
And how many kids did we have test positive during the season? 17, 18 kids during the height of the season, and they were out for 5 days.
I thought they stopped most of those games.
No, this was now they're not testing as much now.
No, I'm telling them they stopped the games, didn't they?
Well, we did first year we didn't have games.
You didn't have. Oh, wow.
We were in cohorts. You couldn't intermingle with a cohort. Okay. It was by alphabetical, and we didn't cut anybody. We kept everybody. I coached 2 freshman teams during the height of COVID. And we only played 4 games on each side, but it was something to keep the kids psychologically engaged because the biggest hurt, mind. And you hear this from a lot of people today. You hear it on the radio and on the news. The biggest thing was the social aspect of what these kids lost.
Imagine.
The mental health issue is huge.
And their whole life they want to play hockey. Their whole life. Now they're ready, and now, nope, nobody's playing nothing. Nobody's doing anything. It's like, wait a minute.
The ramifications.
Yeah. Now, that just brings me to the fact that we could talk. I mean, you're coming back on this show. I get a million questions because I just remember how it used to be and how it is today.
Right.
When you've got 40 kids to try out.
Right.
That's got to be the hardest thing, Cut.
It is.
I mean, heartbreaking.
People don't understand it's the worst week for our coaches.
Of course it is.
Of course, these kids play when they're 5 years old.
Right.
Now they're 15, and we're going to tell them.
You can't.
You can't cut it.
It's
not at this level. You can't cut it.
Is this something that you tell them if you go do this?
Yes,
and you come back?
And we've had that happen.
Yeah.
Kid's too small. He's not fully developed.
Right. I can only imagine that.
He hasn't even. Some of these kids are just starting into puberty. They haven't grown their body structure so when they're freshmen.
And they're going to get hurt.
And they could get hurt because we're up. as freshmen, we could go up against kids. A 14-year-old is typical freshman, but they could be almost 16 if the parents kept them back.
You stayed back
in the younger years, you know.
And hey, that makes a big difference.
Huge
sometimes
difference. Muscular groups and all this stuff. Big difference.
My God,
but we have the entire coaching staff, and there's 10 paid people on our staff, and we have for all 3 teams, and there are probably 3 or 4 others that are volunteers, and we ask them all to attend all of the practices, all of the tryouts, and they all give their opinions on kids.
That's what you need.
Of course, the head coaches are the ones that make the final.
Right, but if you've got a lot of people saying, we can work with this guy,
Right. So, I mean, you're seeing like 10 sets of eyes.
Right.
Over the course of a week.
Right.
But that week is the most stressful week. It's stressful for the kids.
I can only imagine.
But as coaches, we hate it. It's the worst week of our life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because, these people, their parents.
They're all great kids.
They're all great kids, and to tell them that you can't. See, with the Taekwondo, I never had to do that because when I would train and coach people, and I even fought myself in competition, everyone fought. We'd tell you maybe you shouldn't go in now, but if you want to go fight, you can go fight.
Right.
You don't know who you're going to get that day because it's all a free-for-all.
Right.
But you guys are working as a team. We were individuals. You know what I'm saying?
Plus, in hockey, and basketball is probably the same way. Most of the sports like football, lacrosse, and soccer, you can put 110 kids on the sideline.
Yeah.
And the worst you're going to get is what kid doesn't play, right? Because
right, yeah.
But in hockey, there's not enough room on the ice, you can only put 5 kids on the ice at a time.
Right.
And the benches don't hold more than 20 people.
Right. Yeah.
So
I never thought, because in my mind I'm going, why don't you just let all the kids for 46?
Everybody would like to,
but there's just no room, and it'd be
And we'd like to do that too, but there's just not.
Well, then they'd be sitting there, maybe not.
Longer time.
Now the kids who are on the team, there's no limit on time that they can play or not. Some of them just won't play that game.
It's talent. It's by talent.
That's by talent.
And
high schools.
Right,
high schools, yeah.
Right. Now, on the freshman JV level, you try to get kids in as much as possible.
Right.
They don't want you to sacrifice the winning aspect because that's way of life. You're teaching the kid the way of life too through hockey or through whatever.
Any sport.
I always tell the parents at my meeting, when you're a salesperson, there's a number 1 salesperson. There's a number 1 hockey player.
That's right.
And there's a number 20. Right. Same way in sales. The same way in everything. But
somebody's got to be number 1. Somebody's got to be number 2.
That's right. Yeah. So that's
because if you don't get used to it when you're younger, you're gonna have a heartbreak when you get older.
That's right.
Because mom and dad can tell you how great you are, and you're the greatest. You're the greatest. But when you get to high school and college, you ain't the greatest.
Isn't that what is mostly wrong with most of this youth sports today? It's participation, and everybody gets an award.
But see, but my thing with that is, and that's why I say, and you say it's the hardest weekend.
Yeah.
20 kids don't make it. Is there what happens with can we take those 20 kids and keep them on the ice one way or another, because that's what's going to let them grow? Or they're just saying, I quit, I'm never playing hockey again, and now they're on the streets.
No. Fortunately, there are programs that pick up.
They'll pick them up.
They'll pick them up.
Thank
and
God.
we have people that we can recommend them
Thank
to.
God. Yeah,
There's
keep 'em
still
playing.
CYO people.
Right.
There's still
Keep
there's full season teams. There's half season teams for kids that don't make varsities or make their JV teams and freshman teams at their particular schools.
That's right.
Because again, it's a numbers game, and everybody has to realize that there's going to be a time when something ends, right, in life, right? Unfortunately.
The funny thing is, I tried out for Lowell High. Had 44,000 people in Lowell High School when I was going to high school, and I played baseball my whole life. I used to pitch. I used to I just had a ball, and I'm not saying I was good, but I could play the game.
Right.
So I go out to try out as a sophomore because I wasn't even there for freshman. I was somewhere else, and Mike Scaff. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever heard of Mike Scaff. Yeah, he was the old curmudgeon guy and no nonsense guy.
Yep.
And he was old in my mind. He was probably in his 40s,
yeah,
50s, but to me, he was an old guy. And George Kuna was his assistant. George liked me because he's seen me play before. Bobby. But there had to be 200-300 kids trying out. Oh, easily.
Yeah.
And I was watching, and I knew who the political ones were going to get in anyway. But anyway, it didn't matter. And I says, all right, I'll try out for center field because I was a little kind of small. And I remember Mike Scaff goes, all right, outfield, we're going to pop some out, we're going to hit some pop-ups, throw it at a cutoff. What got into my head, I hit me one, right? I threw it over the cutoff's head, over the back, over the catcher's head.
Oh, my
I
God.
wanted to show him I had a good arm.
Oh, yeah.
His head came off his body and
Yeah.
spun around. And George Kuna, who liked me, says, "Boy, you just blew that, Bobby, didn't you?" He goes, "You don't have a chance right now."
Yeah.
Because he wanted to know who is that kid. Get him.
That's right. That's right.
And hey, you don't want to listen, you know? And he
It's
always,
part of the game,
He
right?
always had champion teams too. This Mike Scaff.
Well, part of it is not only whether you have the best talent, because you can't have all the best talent
Right.
on a team, because then you're not going to have any chemistry, right?
Well, that's right.
You-
Yeah.
You want the best players all the time.
All the time if you
But
can.
the bottom line is you still need the chemistry of the other kids that do different things.
That's
so
right.
one kid like Bobby Orr can't single-handedly win a game.
No.
Neither could Wayne Gretzky.
You gotta play
They got to
together.
have a team.
Right,
You
yeah.
got to have a team.
And you got to show them plays in ways,
Right.
especially with penalties and
Yep.
you know. So if there's no fight, well, I would imagine the penalties tripping and,
Oh, yeah.
and high sticking and
Well, there's roughing,
and-
there's
and roughing, okay.
boarding.
Yeah.
There's, today when you hit a kid, if you hit a kid too high,
yeah.
you can get multiple penalties. If you hit a kid who's facing the glass and his
Cross-checking, yeah.
body's facing the glass, and you slam into him,
Like,
that's a penalty.
like we used to do and
Yeah.
have a ball.
So you can't do that stuff.
Yeah.
You know? Kid
Wow.
turns at the last minute. Now you got a boarding or you got a hit from behind, and a hit from behind is a 5-minute penalty.
And that kills the
That
team.
kills a team. When you're playing 15-minute penalties,
so you-
5-minute penalty is a third of the
Yeah,
game.
yeah. And so you're watching the rules change probably by the year.
Yeah, absolutely.
By the year, right? And you've
Yeah.
got to keep up with those
You
rules.
got to keep up with them.
Um,
That's why we have referees come in and talk to us about the rules, and coaches and anything that's significant changes and things of that nature. So
do you do film with the kids?
I don't do as much with the freshmen as the varsity does.
They do it,
but
yeah.
the varsity does. There's programs today that they film during practice that you can break down a kid's stride and what they're shooting at and things of that nature. But yeah, film is big on the varsity level.
Right.
And less on the JV and less on the freshmen.
Right,
but we do a lot of pregame preparation in the locker room. I get my kids there early. I'm constantly talking to them either via email or whatever, giving them assignments and things to do and look for. But yeah, we spend a lot of time going over plays and different things of that nature. And then occasionally we'll break it down. But of course, the school can't afford to give that program
Right. Yeah.
to
You know,
all
so-
of the
there's so much
teams.
time. There's so much time.
A lot
in
of
it,
time.
yeah.
There's only so
You know, if you're gonna take that much time, get on the ice and let's get around. And,
Right. And I like to keep our practices moving pretty quick.
So when you to get them in shape,
Yep. Preseason conditioning camps.
is it all right? So and then even workouts during the week
Right.
to keep in shape. What do you
Kids
just,
are going through it right now at school, at many schools.
Would they just go crazy? I mean, to get that lung power, to get that stamina, to get the strength.
We have a guy, his name is Bill McSheffrey. He's the head of our St. John's Prep conditioning and skills and conditioning
Right.
and nutrition. And he's got a staff. And he's a hockey guy. He actually coached conditioning and nutrition at the NHL and college level. So he's now our guy. And these kids go during the summer. They have training camps where they're teaching these
So
kids
cool.
stuff. It's
Yes.
unbelievable.
And then the scholarships, do you so the scholarships, full scholarships to some schools, or
Yeah.
a lot of schools come to St. John's Prep to say, we're going to look at this kid.
Yeah.
And
There's
what do you
not as
do?
There's not as many as you think,
You
right?
think
Right? There's not as many scholarships for kids in the college level as you think.
for
right?
hockey? Oh, I
for
wouldn't
any
know.
for any sport, because think about it. If you already have a team full of scholarships, kids, how many more scholarships do you have to fill in for the next year? 5, 6, maybe, right? And you got a whole world out there that's competing for those 5 or 6.
So how are the
plus.
colleges coming in and
They
grabbing
have
you?
scouts. They have scouts,
it's-
and then the kids want to. They try to find out where they want to go, where they
Right.
might fit.
Right.
Our coaching staff helps them. We do. There's
Right.
a lot of
That helps.
recruiting.
That helps,
There's a lot of recruiting done at different levels, Division 1, but there's not as many scholarship available to kids because they all think they're going to be Division 1
Well, yeah.
NHL players.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. And you get that handful.
Right. So yeah, I always tell the kids, you go to different leagues, of course, outside the high school season because there's a lot of scouts watching all year round, not just during the high
That's
school
right,
season.
right, yeah.
So you need to be in these different leagues. And the hockey world, the basketball world, the football world is a small world. People still know who the best players are. Right. And it doesn't matter if you're playing at St. John's Prep or Chelsea High School. If you're good, they're going to find you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Belichick,
right.
If Belichick will look at it,
he finds them.
He'll find them, yeah.
He finds kids you don't even know about. And, he's just,
and everybody says, what's he doing? How dare you even,
Yeah.
The king of all kings.
He is he's the man when it comes to that.
And even this year, he'll pick up the bad boy. He'll pick up the bad boy, and everybody goes, what are they doing? To tell the bad boy, you just cross me, you're out. You'll be gone tomorrow. And he's done it.
Yep.
How many times has he done it?
He's done it a lot.
How could they get rid of him? Because you gave him.
You don't want to be part of the program.
He said something. You just shut up.
It's our way or the highway. It's
that's
the
right.
program or your own. Because it's not about one person.
Right. And so that's what you have to tell your kids.
Yeah. It's all about
you are in charge.
Right.
They're not in charge. But you got some kids coming in thinking that they're Captain America.
They learn.
And,
they don't challenge me. They don't challenge
What do
me.
you do? Sit them right down and say, you sit down, and maybe you won't play today.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of their attitude.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I've done that 100 times. In fact, the head coach at St. John's has been saying for the last few years anyways, he says, I want my kids to go through you because the kids that go through you come up here and they gel.
They're ready.
And they're ready. This past season with the championship team, out of 25 kids that were on the roster for the championship team, 19 of them were freshmen through me. And the year before when we went, in 2015 and we won the championship, there were 20 kids that played freshman hockey. So that's a good kids get disappointed. Oh, I got to play freshman. I can't play I can't play freshman.
Right.
They tell you want to play at the freshman level.
Yeah,
you want to get
fun.
that. Have some fun.
Yeah.
Grow as a person.
Learn. Yeah.
Educationally.
Right.
Scholarly.
Yeah.
And become a camaraderie with the team.
Because you got 4 years with these kids.
That's right.
Now. And
the teams that have had kids come in that are transfers, and they're transfers all the time, because kids like the grass is always greener.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And they hear.
But when they get there, they have no real camaraderie with kids that are there for the right reasons. Right. So. And those are the teams that don't win as much.
No. Oh, I know.
Sometimes you shake your head.
You think of like the '67 Red Sox, the old Bruins stuff. Those guys were rock stars, but loved each other.
That's right.
And they were crazy.
That's
and
right.
the crazy Red Sox and the idiots.
That's right.
Remember the idiots?
The idiots. Yeah. Red Sox.
They had more fun, and you're saying that's how baseball should be. And the ones who were just stiff and they weren't going to play because they were the Kings, like in the Yankees or whatever.
Too much pressure on them.
Too much pressure on them to be. Yeah.
Yep.
Johnny, that's all the time we have.
Really?
Listen, that was a quick hour.
Awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah. Well, we got to do it again.
I'd love to do it.
Yeah. And you know what I'd like to do? And sometimes, as I already invited your wife,
yes.
because that's a story and a half.
Yeah, it is.
Because we could go back and she could write a book on that.
She could.
To be the first Little Leaguer woman.
Yep.
Think about it.
Yep.
Think about it. The Jackie Robinson, the woman in the little
in Chelsea Little League.
Yeah,
that's right.
They could do a movie of her like that.
Yeah.
Because she had a hard time with some of the boys.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And even some of the parents.
But you want to know something? She was good.
Oh, that's even worse.
She was good, so they couldn't argue with her.
That's even worse. Now they really hate her. Yeah,
exactly.
And the kid goes home, the pitcher goes home, and the father goes, "You let a girl hit a home run off you?"
Yeah.
John, that's it.
Oh, my friend.
You're the best.
That was awesome.
Thank
Let's
you
do it
so
again.
much.
Real soon.
Yeah. Till next time. Thank you.
Thank you.